everyone, Namaste. This is me, Anjali Kochar. Welcome back to my channel, Tookwings Blog by Jano Anjali Kochar. तो आज का जो पॉडकास्ट है आज के पॉडकास्ट में आपको इतना मज़ा आने वाला है एंड इफ़ यू आर अ म्यूजिक लवर आई वुड से जस्ट गो वॉच दिस पॉडकास्ट विद मिस्टर जश हु इज़ अ क्लासिकली ट्रेन्ड म्यूजिशियन ही इज़ अ सिंगर ही इज़ ऑल्सो एन एंटरप्रेन्योर ही इज़ ऑल्सो अ ट्रैवलर ही इज़ अ लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स आई वुड से बट ये कॉन्वर्जेशन हमने बहुत ही enthusiastically एक दूसरे से बात करी है about music, about classical music, about fusions, about how classical music evokes emotions. और मैं आपको एक और चीज़ बता दूं, जब तक ये पॉडकास्ट रिलीज़ होगा तब तक उनका पंजाबी सॉन्ग पंजाबी सॉन्ग भी रिलीज़ हो चुका होगा, तो डेफिनेटली मैं लिंक डाल दूंगी। आप लिंक में जाकर के चेक भी कर सकते हो उनका न्यू सॉन्ग एंड देन टू कम बैक टू अस एंड लेट अस नो हाउ डिड यू एंजॉय इट। इट इज़ वन ऑफ हिज फर्स्ट एक्सपेरिमेंट्स और एक्सपीरियंस विद पंजाबी म्यूजिक एज वेल एंड ही सेज कि म्यूजिक की कोई लैंग्वेज नहीं है, सो आई थिंक यू गाइस जस्ट नीड टू गो बैक टू दैट सॉन्ग एज वेल। बट उससे पहले जाकर के कॉन्वर्जेशन सुनो, बहुत ही मज़ा आने वाला है, बहुत ही लाइट हार्टेड, बहुत ही एंथुजियास्टिक एंड बहुत ही अमेजिंग कॉन्वर्जेशन रही थी आज की। सो गो वॉच इट यू गाइस एंड लेट अस नो हाउ डिड यू फील। हाय जशन, वेलकम टू कहानिया बाय टुकविंग्स ब्लॉग, हाउ आर यू?
Hi, warm welcome to all our listeners, and thank you, Anjali, for having me here. I'm doing excellent. Thank you.
Great. So today we'll talk to you about a lot about music, travel, and New Year is around the corner. So where are you traveling and what would be the, music trends like for the next year? So everything we'll talk about. But before that, at Kahaniya, we have a tradition that we start the podcast with one story that defines you, or one story that you would like to share with our audiences.
Um, I think uh, uh, there are so many stories to tell, but I think like today and like every day, I just feel I wake up feeling very thankful for all the opportunities that life has to offer. I mean, in the music front, and I'm an entrepreneur, so on that front also. So it's been an exciting time, and I would like to be defined by that enthusiasm and passion that. I have to, move the things around or turn the things around every single day.
Right, right. So maybe you could tell us a little more about your love for music.
Well, my love for music goes back a long way. I've been singing ever since I was born, and I'm formally training in classical music ever since I was 4 or 5 years old. So, pretty much, music has been a part of all my life. I don't remember a single time in my life where I was not singing. Most of my background has been in classical music and Indian music. So I was really well known for my renditions of classical music and ghazal. Was singing on national TV, All India Radio, and recently from the pandemic time, I started doing a lot of experiments in fusion music and in commercial music also. So I want to be this bridge between traditional Indian music and the modern audience, and how to bridge that gap and bring it to them in a form that is very appetizing to them and appealing to them. So I've been doing some experiments that way. In fact, like I put up a concept called love through the ages, where we basically take we are all about love. India is a country all about love, so we take different songs and different types of music from India. Like there's Sufi, there is like Chap Tilak Sab Chini, the Mast Kalandar, but then there's also some Bollywood songs like Tu Mile Dil Khile, or some latest ones also, and we fuse them all together into seamless medleys to show the different ways of expressing love. So this has been
Right.
a recent experiment, but yeah, music is a lifelong journey for me, and I'm always excited for the various milestones at different points of time.
Right, right. Definitely. So we'll make you sing a little bit maybe later on
I
in
have a
the
very bad throat, like as you can tell from my voice, but yeah, of course, I will definitely try to sing something. Yeah.
Right, right. So, as you also spoke about fusion music, and we all know that it is gaining a lot of popularity these days with the new generation, right? So, what do you think about the trends about fusion music, how it will be like in the next year, in the coming year?
I think that's going to be more and more booming, and now we are seeing one more trend that there is. there is not just a revival of the old songs, and that, that was one trend, that there was a revival of old songs. There was remixes of, say, Chhap Tilak Sab Chini, remixes of Jamada Maskalandar, or a lot of Nasrat Fateh Ali Khan Saab songs were rehashed. Kale Kale Zulfo Ke Fande Na Dalo, or Tumhe Dil Lagi, ya Dekhte Dekhte. All of those, that was one trend, that was one era, which is going to continue to happen. But on the other side, we are having a lot of new innovative compositions in that format. So
Hmm.
people are collaborating. Say if there was a collaboration between Sunidhi Chauhan and some folk singers, and that was something which I really enjoyed listening to. And likewise, there are now many people who've started their own channels where they are putting artists from Bollywood, folk, or a regional artist, somebody who's singing very well in the South, or Marathi, or Punjabi, or Bengali, and singing some authentic melody from that region, along with a new composition. So I think that's some trend that is really picking up now, and people are really taking to that original music, which has some elements of the traditional, and some elements of the modern.
Right, that's very true. I've found, even some of my friends who are music lovers and who understand music, they're going back to the original format of music as well. I mean, it's not
Absolutely.
just about remix as of now.
And also, like, as a live performer, I'm seeing that audiences are more and more interested in your authenticity.
Hmm.
So if you bring to them something with your heart, maybe instead of 200 people you will have 20 people, but they will really really listen to you, as opposed to 200 people who are just there or on their phones and more interested to record you and stuff like that. So that quality over quantity is something that a lot of artists are making a choice to cater to. That, okay, we don't care so much about quantity anymore, we want to care about quality and really really feel a connection with our audiences. So I think a lot of artists, and some have taken to social media to really express that view also, and I am of that view as well. So I think that's another trend that's happening, that people, the connection between artists and audiences is becoming more intense, and then by default of that, it eliminates a lot of the noise and the mass that is there.
Right, right. So as you mentioned about social media, I really am, excited to understand that how social media has changed things for artists. Like, is it, of course, I believe that it is, I mean, it is a good thing. But what are your thoughts? Like, is there a balance that needs to be maintained, or how is it like for
So
you?
definitely the benefits of social media for artists are manifold today. People who would have struggled for years and years,
Hmm.
in the music industry, to get a break in a film song or something of that sort. That was the only way at one point. But now we can take to social media, and reach wider audiences, and put our own authentic music there. And a lot of people, they've suddenly become viral sensations by being able to. The truly talented people have become
Right.
viral sensations by being able to reach a larger audience. In fact, earlier this year, I did a series called 30 Days, 30 Iconic Songs, where I sang 30, some of them were old songs, some of them were newer ones, but 30
Hmm.
songs which I really loved. So, over those 30 days, the whole month of June, every day, 1st to 30th June, I got out one of the song which is very close to my
Hmm.
heart, and people took to that very well. So, in a day, in an era where there was no social media, that would have not been possible for me to interact every day with my audiences and give them something that I enjoy and they also enjoy, then also by default enjoy. At the same time, I come from a classical music world. So,
Hmm.
like, for 15 years, people, even my neighbors or my closest friends, didn't even know I sing, because the training was so disciplined, and it had to be done behind closed doors. You're not allowed to open your mouth in public, because your training is so rigorous, and you have to do that riyaz, you have to get your talim from your guru in
Hmm.
that way. So I feel that when you asked about balance, it really struck a chord with me, because yes, on one hand, you have to go wide, you have to go far and wide and reach people, but at the same
Hmm.
time, your roots, like a tree has branches, the social media lets you get your branches far and wide, but at the
Hmm.
same time, it is up to you as an artist to get your roots also deeper. तो आप कितना रियाज कर रहे हो, आप जो परमानेंट है उसके, trends will come and go. Every era will have a trend. We've seen, if
Hmm.
you track the last 5 decades, every 10 years look very very different. But
Hmm.
there are some things which have stayed and are evergreen. So
Right.
and what it takes to be that is something we as artists should think about. If you look at Asha ji today, Asha Bhosle ji, she's
Hmm.
90 plus. She has performed. I think in the coming week she's performing in Dubai. How incredible is that? and that is something which is permanent. तो आशा जी ने क्या किया होगा अपने skills पे, what
Mm,
technique and her passion, what all work she must have done on herself to be able to be that level of permanent. And God
mm.
willing, she's with us for for a long time. But even after that, I'm sure her music will live on and will be
Right.
immortal
Yes.
forever. So what an artist needs to do to get to that level, I think it's an inward journey which we need to be conscious and aware of, and balance that out with, of course, the fame and acclaim that is now possible through social media.
Right, right, right. No, of course. I mean, I totally agree with that point that passion is important. I mean, you should be passionate about your art first, and then, of course, fame तो ऐसा है कि आता जाता रहेगा ही. Right, absolutely. So, if we talk about, a little bit about traveling now, because New Year's is around the corner. So, we want to know that what are your travel plans and what is your New Year vacation would be like?
So it's very funny because every year, a month or so before New Year, everybody asks me this question, and I say that, oh, nahi, मैं तो कहीं नहीं जा रहा, and this year has been so hectic, and then just before New Year, I end up making a last minute plan. My family and friends are very very last minute people, and I am also. So
Mm-hmm.
we end up doing something. A lot of my relatives from USA fly down here, so we go somewhere nearby, or we have good family time. I don't, but this year is also would be very crazy because in just about a week as we speak now, like I think I will take another day or two to officially announce it, but in a week or so I have a song release coming up. I worked on a commercial Punjabi song, so in the next few days that will be releasing. And I think right now my whole focus is on that. I'm unable to see beyond that as such, because there's so much stuff to be done before the song releases. So I think after that I'll think that, okay, now this has gone well, now I deserve a break, and now I'll plan something. But always, I mean, if you've been following my journey, you know that I love traveling, and I end up traveling a lot anyways, for work and for various reasons. So never say never. I think I'll end up doing something closer to the time.
Right. So tell us a bit more about the Punjabi song, the new release.
This has been an absolutely new experiment, and it's been a, of course, I mostly sing about love, so it's a love song, but it's like a breakup song. And
Okay.
yeah, and it's basically a love triangle. And
Mm,
it's for me to sing that in a commercial Punjabi style was challenging at first. I'm also not a native Punjabi speaker, I'm Maharashtrian. So I
mm,
think just when you hum Punjabi songs like that, you think you can manage. But to officially record and put it out there, I had to work on my diction, and the throw of voice has to be different for Punjabi music. So all of that, it was a very interesting experience. Shooting the music video was also a very interesting experience. It's just with two beautiful actresses, and I was stuck between them, caught between them. So it was a
mm,
fun for me to picturize that. And you'll see in the video, like some scenes are very very intense, where it's like I can't get over my first lover, and I'm taking a photo and throwing it and tearing it and everything. So of course the song is an intense song. If you heard Kismat Badalti Vekhi Hai, it's in that
mm.
zone, kind of in that zone, where there's a lot of pain because of the separation and breakup and everything.
Right, right. So
Yeah.
what inspired you to, experiment with Punjabi music when you're not even a native speaker? And how was the journey like?
I think music is music, so I would never say no to any type of music. I'll at least try it once and then know if it is for me or not. Of course, Punjabi music, having done it once now, having recorded it once, I felt very very comfortable in the end, and I felt that, Ari, this is so nice. I really identify with this a lot. And the I came across the tune. It was an upcoming
Mm,
composer who has done significant work already in Punjabi, but I came across his work recently. He's Delhi based, so and I really loved the tune. So the music itself got me into it, and of course the experience was, as I said, very very interesting. And I can't wait to see how people take to it. I know if
mm,
whether how they like it in my voice, and what would be their feedback. I can't wait to hear that.
mm. Right, right. So we were also talking about traveling, and you love traveling. So, do you believe that there is a connection between music and traveling? Is there a relation? Do you find any relation between?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think, I mean, the first thing that people do when they sit in the car is play music. That's
Mm,
because that movement, the journey, the state of mind of travel, of movement, is musical in itself. it that rhythm of travel, the way you feel as a person on when you're on a journey, is very musical, and hence people play different types of music while they're traveling. I
Mm,
also get a lot of inspiration when in my travel. So like some lot of new tunes, or I remember a lot of old traditional Indian tunes suddenly in a place. Like if I was I recently was in Croatia. So there, when I was by the sea, I remembered some old ghazals, which were all, which were very beautifully flowing. And then we went to some historical sites, like some castles and things like that. So
mm,
there, I thought of the more grander, the grander, more darbari type tunes which were there. And then
mm,
I keep thinking, okay, now how can, if I'm so modern and I remember these things while standing in these settings, how can
mm.
I bring this to the audiences? So that's a thought which always inspires me.
Right. So how does that work? I mean, sometimes do you plan to go on a vacation just to, let your creative inflows out, or is it like even unplanned vacations also that you
There are a lot of people who do that, and I think I can clearly see the benefits of that. If you know, like even not in the art space, but Richard Branson, an entrepreneur, he was
Mm,
known to go, for a week or a few days to a very remote place without any connectivity for a
right.
week every year, and he said that that really helped him strategize everything for his large company that time. And when he came back, he just had to execute, but he had a lot of clarity in the mind. I unfortunately have not had that time and luxury to do that. I'm now thinking that okay, maybe I should really take some time off to consciously reset myself. It has not happened yet, honestly. It just happens on the go.
Mm,
But I think like uh, quick sparks which just come to you are also most welcome,
right.
and I'm very accepting of them and thankful for them to happen also.
Right. So what kind of places do you love to travel?
I'm a city boy. I like cities a lot. Like I like nature and everything, but more than 2 or 3 days, I feel very suffocated in a very calm setting. I'm a very hyper and
Like,
fast-paced person, as maybe you can
mm,
tell.
mm,
So I like and I the other thing is that I barely ever think I need a break from what I'm doing in that sense.
mm,
Like I'm very lucky that way that I don't need to stop my work or my riyas or any of that. I hardly ever feel tired of it. I mean, it's human. Sometimes we have some bad days where you don't
mm,
want to do it or whatever. But most days I'm very happy and thankful that okay, I have this opportunity to do this. So all I need is a change of environment, and I find like big cities like like Dubai or London or New
mm.
York, they would give me a good change of environment and yet not slow down the pace of my life and thoughts. I can still be fast paced and but still it's a change of environment, so it's good to reset.
Right, right. So
That's
you
not what a lot of musicians will say. A lot of musicians will want to go to the mountains and everything. I'll be
uh,
very miserable if
time
you put me there for more than 3 days. I'll say, okay, please take me back.
अब बस हो गया
बस हो गया.
राइट राइट सो जब आप वेकेशन पे जाते हो तब भी यू प्रैक्टिस मतलब आप रियाज करते हो
Yeah.
तब
So my guru taught me 10 to 15 minutes. It takes 10 to 15 minutes. It can also take 45 minutes if you stretch it. I mean, if you really go into the depths of it. But in travel, you can compress a morning routine. Every morning, I wake up to that routine in 15 minutes. It's called as, in classical music, we call them alankar. So it is basically uh, patterns which go up and down in different combinations of the notes, and it really helps to keep the voice flexible and really helps to open up the voice in the morning. So that's something which my guru did. She passed away when she was around 85 years old. She was a legendary figure. She was Padma Vibhushan. But I saw her till the end of her life. She was doing that. So of course, that's something which inspires us all to continue that also every day.
अमेजिंग
So at
अमेजिंग
least that I do during travel, and then uske baad, if there is time and there is inclination or there is inspiration, then I would sing something else. But that's the bare minimum, and doesn't take long at all.
Right, right, right. So when we talk about schedule, so this is one part of your schedule, but we would also like to know like how is your day like otherwise?
So I'm also an entrepreneur, right? So I
Mm,
run a chemicals and pharmaceutical business
mm,
along with singing. My
mm,
no 2 days are different. They're very exciting, but I'm all over the place because are I mean, within the music space, there is a classical, and there's the whole commercial performance angle. I have a lot of live shows that I'm doing now with the fusion concept. And then
Hmm.
in business there is I mean, there's a core business which was to do more to do with raw materials for paints, but then we've gone into making ingredients for cosmetics, for pharmaceuticals and things like that. So that's been a very crazy time. And
Hmm.
it's a game of jugglery, but it's a very fun game. So it is no 2 days look different. And the schedule mainly involves me being engaged in something or the other that I love all day long, so there's no complaint about that.
Right, right. And it's very interesting that you are also an entrepreneur. So, what's your, entire experience being an entrepreneur? What's your journey been like? And, like there are a lot of young people who are, I mean, who just want to start their journey as an entrepreneur these days and not just, follow the usual path of doing a job and then get into your own startup. So, what's your take on that?
So in our business, it's a established chemicals company, and I'm the third generation entrepreneur. My grandfather, who was very close to, started the business, and my
Hmm.
mom is the my mother is the second generation and managing director of our company, and I'm now in business for 10 years or so. So the uh, the opportunities and challenges of joining a fairly established setup and then taking it to another different height, to diversify it, to expand it into many other countries, many other business areas, has been my role, and it has been very, very exciting. The opportunity for entrepreneurship is uh, unprecedented in today's time. There are a lot of opportunities. There are so many bright people now who are starting their own things, and in so many different areas, right from tech to consumer to fintech to physical products to services and things like that. And it's never been a better time for them. So I think if there's anybody on the fence wanting to make that plunge, and there were some of my friends also who I pushed or am pushing to do that,
Hmm.
and I think it's a great time if somebody's, but the fundamental qualities for success remain the same irrespective of what, you know which what time it is and stuff like that. Like, there should be genuine passion for it. Aj, in my company, that if there is, I'll do the biggest and smallest thing, मुझे वो अपनी ही लगेगी. So that level of passion should be there, that okay, on the worst day also you really want this to work. So
Right.
that, if that is there, then I think, then somebody, there's a lot of glamour around entrepreneurship now, that you get your profile becomes this, you get a lot of funding, and you get to go here, and you suddenly get to travel and all of that, and you're sitting on a good valuation also. So that might mislead a lot of people to say that, oh, my life will be better, but actually there are more reasons not to be an entrepreneur than to be an entrepreneur. So if you understand that, and despite everything, all the challenges, very going to very challenging, but you have to, and often we joke that okay, it's like hitting yourself with an axe every day, but and really enjoying doing that. So if you're ready for that challenge, वो आपको अगर उसमें मजा आने वाला है और आप उसमें ज्यादा खिलने वाले हो, तो फिर it makes sense. Otherwise, it's not a safe space at all. It's like jumping into
Right.
the deep water. So you have to be ready to swim your way out of it after that.
Right, right. I think, and this is true for even the creative field as well. I mean, you have to be ready for a lot of ups and downs if you're working for yourself.
Absolutely. आप यहाँ पर आप घर पे बैठ के आपकी creativity
Mm.
ये करो. That's all
Ah,
due respect to that. It's very, I mean,
right,
any talent. But
right.
but the way, like, really उसको आग से ही
Hmm.
जो एक पास होके शार्प होता है, वो
Hmm.
हैपेंस ओनली व्हेन यू पुट योरसेल्फ आउट देयर, एंड आप
Right,
उसमें धक्के खाओगे तो फिर ही you turn into, something good comes out of it. So, and yeah, in all creative fields also that applies absolutely, that it once you put yourself out there and then really stand your ground,
right,
in the real world, then your authenticity as an artist comes through more and more.
right. So I think you're wearing a lot of hats, be it of an entrepreneur, of a singer, of a traveler. I think you're doing it a lot. But if we get back to your music again, so in between we also spoke about gurus. So who are the people in this feel that who inspire you a lot?
So my guru Kishori Amonkar has been my biggest inspiration, and I was listening to her since childhood. And eventually, much later on in my life and her life, I had the chance to learn from her in the last 2 years of her life. But before that, I was formally training. But she was always my, she is still, the beginning and end of everything for me. Beyond that, I spoke about Asha ji a lot. I really, I really, matlab, uh, uh, if you talk about being a versatile vocalist, being able to do anything with your voice, मतलब जो भी आपको गाना है, आप classical भी और retro songs also, western inspired, anything. There is nothing that Asha ji can't do, and she all does it with uh, that much, elan. She's so good at it. So she has been my inspiration also all throughout my life. In the male singers, I really look up to, on the Bollywood side, I really look up to Sonu Nigam ji, and I think he's literally like a um, was born with sur, like a auto tune in his vocal cords. It's just phenomenal. And I think today there's very few people, or maybe nobody, who can deliver that kind of um,
Right.
a song that he can do. So that would definitely be. And I also like a lot of the people who are my contemporaries. I think I really am admiring the so many people now. Like I'll run out of names if I start saying, but so many artists who are my age or younger than me even, and really
Mm,
are standing the ground कि मुझे नहीं, मुझे ये ही करना है, and I will
mm.
stick to this music, and I want to express this, and are doing it with a lot of passion. So I really look up to that as well.
Right, right. So, we spoke about gurus, we spoke about your inspiration, but what are the kind of songs that you just love listening to? Any day you would love, you would just play that song and you would be like, okay, this has made my day.
So I love listening to ghazals a lot. So
Mhm.
those are my go-to. My in my alone times, I will be listening to ghazals or Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan Saab ke songs. Those would also be something which would be my go-to to listen to casually. And classical music, the problem which happens nowadays is that it is too close to home ground for me. I'm too emotionally invested in it, so I can't just listen to it casually. Then I end up really studying it or really
Right.
feeling it very deeply. So I can't play it in the background. I can't play it in the car or anything. I have to
Mhm.
schedule time that okay, I need to listen to my guru's rendition of this particular piece. So I'm going to leave everything and then sit and do that. So then I end up doing it less and less because you need to carve a lot of bandwidth for it. But for listening, that is a good emotional experience as well as easy to listen to. I love a lot of ghazals. I think in ghazals, um, Ghulam Ali ji is my most favorite, and the
Mm.
twists and turns he can take, and he can say so many things in one song. He can put out 100 or 200 ideas in a 5 minute rendition. It's just incredible and always blows my mind.
Right, right. So, you mentioned about classical music. So, one of my friends is also a singer and she's into classical music. And she tells me a lot that she keeps sending me some rags to listen in the morning or in the
Absolutely.
right. So she tells me that these music or this classical music evokes a lot of emotions. So as you mentioned that you have to just be at one
Absolutely.
place and listen to the music. So what are your thoughts on that? I mean, do raga, evoke emotions?
Yeah. Yeah. So they evoke emotions. That's undoubted that they evoke
Mhm.
emotions. But these are not mundane emotions. It is not expressions of what I would say to you, or what you would say to me, or you
Right.
would say to your lover, or anything. This is
Hmm.
more about the deeper level of
Right.
universal emotion of that, of love, of sad, very, very basic things which we can't put in words. But we all feel them. And like for example, like uh, it's one thing to make a song about the rains and say that okay, kabhi jo badal barse, whatever, I to love you in the
Mhm.
rains and everything. That's one thing. That's one level of me expressing it to you.
Right.
But if you talk about Rag Malhar, when the
Mm,
first rains make Malhar, the first
mm,
rains when they strike the ground,
mm,
we all feel something deep inside. You will try to express it. You will try
mm,
to run to your kitchen, make a chai, make a pakoda,
mm,
sit by the
mm,
thing. वो क्या है that makes you want to leave your walk aside and sit by the window, sipping a chai, and feel that is a beautiful moment. That uncaptured emotion is in Rag Malhar, which we all feel, which is universal. That first excitement of rain, that change that happens in the earth, and then subsequently in your mind when it starts raining, that is the emotion of Rag Malhar. And like that, every raga has its own thing, which we all, it's more like a universal emotion that is there. So to get to that, also you have to open the door of your heart first, and then you feel it more and more.
Right,
Yeah.
absolutely true. So, I believe you have a really bad throat, so I
Yeah,
won't.
I will sing for you next time for sure. I'm very badly down, and I have a lot of shows coming up also, so I really need to preserve my voice for that. Yeah.
Right. So I won't trouble you with the song, but to end the podcast, what would be your thoughts like for our listeners out there?
I always wish them the very very best, and I think I hope that they get to listen to more and more of you, because you have lovely energy, and you lead the podcast extremely well, Anjali. So I'm sure whoever you're interviewing, you'll bring out the best in them and put that forth to the listeners, which they can really really enjoy.
Great. Thank you so much for your kind words. And, I really enjoyed this conversation. Usually, I'll be honest, usually I prefer like maybe later time slots, but even early in the morning, we had such an amazing
Thank you. It's a
conversation.
good start to the day. Then
Yes.
thank you so much, and
Thank you
really
so much.
nice
And I'm
to.
looking forward to the new Punjabi song.
Please, thank you so much. I really need all your wishes for that. Thank you.
Thank you.